Good morning, everybody. It's Mike, and thanks for joining me this morning as we move into a new series for this week. And I've prepared what I hope is an interesting conversation for you each day this week, Monday through Thursday. For 10 minutes or less, we're going to explore 6 different ways to give yourself a raise this year. Well, right now, there's about 32 million businesses in the United States. And as an agent, you're a small business yourself. You're a self-employed 1099 small business. And many of us, are you this person? Many of us want to grow our business this year, increase our business, and make more money. Is that you? Okay. Well, what I hope to do this week is offer you 6 concepts on how you grow a business. So let's get started with number 1. Number 1 on my list is change the frequency in which your customers purchase. Now, all of these concepts can apply to any business. So if your spouse or you have a family member and they own a business too, perhaps you could share this with them. But number 1 on my list of 6 ways to give yourself a raise this year is change the frequency that your customers purchase. The average consumer in the U.S. buys a home about every 8 to 10 years. So you might be saying, well, Mike, what am I going to do about that? Well, you're not going to do anything about that. You're not going to change consumer behavior on a macro level. But could you? Could they? Could they buy a rental property? With rents up, and gosh, those of you in the Atlanta area, you've seen this, right? Rents are surging. They're sky high. They're record high. And the interesting thing is at the same time, mortgage interest rates are at record lows. Is it a good time to have rental property, to go long on your real estate? Absolutely. And are you encouraging that with your customer base, with everybody in your database? Are you pointing out to them the advantages of going long, buying and holding real estate and renting to their investment portfolio at such an incredible time? You know, a couple weeks ago I was in Nashville for a meeting, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and by the way, that's why you do stuff like that. Just a little aside. Yeah, the conference was interesting, but it's always the people that you get to meet and interact with there that is the great benefit. And that's why I'm always encouraging you to do that. But let me get back on the highway here. I met a guy while I was there, and he's telling me how he's not staying at the conference hotel. He's staying at a condo that's an Airbnb right next door. Literally, he walked across the street. And so he's telling me a little bit about how this works, and he's paying less for this really nice condo. He's showing me some pictures on his phone than I'm paying for my hotel room. And then we start running through the economics of it and just minimum expectations. He's saying, yeah, the guy that owns that unit, he doesn't live there. He owns like 5 or 6 of them in that condo building. And it's a nicer, bigger place to stay than the conference hotel. It's less expensive than the conference hotel. And this guy, with interest rates being so incredibly low, is killing it. He's killing it. Are you telling stories like that to the people in your database? How about buying a vacation property? A lake house, a mountain house, a beach house. How about kids within college, like kids at Georgia and Georgia Southern and West Georgia College? Are they living in a dorm, or could, with interest rates being so incredibly low, could you have bought them an apartment and let their roommates pay for the cost of that apartment, that condo, and your kid basically got to stay for free for 4 years? Are we having these conversations? Are there people in your database right now that are saying, gosh, wouldn't it be great to buy a place at the beach, or a mountain house, or a lake house? Well, Mike, I'm in Atlanta and I don't work at the beach. Yeah, but I bet you could refer them to an agent at the beach and get referral fees, right? Are we already doing this on a regular basis? Does everybody you know that you provide that service? How about, are they referring you family members that are currently renting? How about kids coming out of college? Could you get them set up in their own condo so they could start building equity? How about this? How about with the astronomical cost of weddings these days? Do you have a campaign where you're going to your database and offsetting and saying, you know, you can spend this on a wedding, or you can use that same money towards a down payment on your first home? Do you have, I know the romanticism of it all, but do you have a message out there showing the difference? Do you have a message out there to your existing database, the people that already know you, like you, and trust you, where no matter where they live, right? Because couldn't you be a real estate advisor to them no matter where they live? If they live in Chicago and want to sell their home and just buy another home in Chicago, couldn't you be an advisor or a consultant to them, helping them pick and manage the right listing agent? Couldn't you? And couldn't you charge that listing agent a referral fee for doing that? I think you could. I know agents around the country that are doing that, never leaving their kitchen and making more money than us that are out there hoofing it and showing homes every day. I think that's one way to grow a business this year, which is just those different ideas. Change the frequency in which your customers buy real estate. Give them other reasons to buy than just a new primary residence. Yeah, they're only going to do that every 8 to 10 years on average. But aren't there a lot of other reasons for them to engage in the purchase of real estate? Are you giving them those reasons and showing them examples? That's the first way that I'd say we can give ourselves a raise this year, make more money. Number 2, how do you grow a business? Penetrate a new market. Penetrate a new market. For us, that might mean adding another layer to your target audiences, to your business. Caution, only if you have mastered your current target audiences, the current layers in your business that you have. It's repeatable and duplicatable. You've systematized it, you've mastered it, now could you add another layer? But first, mastering your existing one, so you're not just chasing every shiny object that comes along, right? But if you have mastered those existing layers, penetrate a new market. My encouragement would be to make it complementary to your existing business. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, that you're currently focusing on for sale by owners. Adding geographic farming to that is a nice complement. Why? They're both on the listing side focus, so a lot of your systems, a lot of your procedures, like your listing presentation, they will stay similar. You won't have a radical change in your business. But with geographic farming, that's more of a they call you, and the for sale by owners is you call them. So they're nice complements to each other. If you're current focused, your primary target audience is online buyer lead generation. If it is, you and I need to talk. I had to slip that in there. But if it is currently buyer lead generation, could you add a listing side slice to your business? Something like geographic farming, for sale by owners, expired listings. Another layer that would give you a balance, because you can only work with so many home buyers at a time, right? But you can work with virtually limitless amount of listings. So could you do that? If you would say that your current target audience is your sphere of influence, again, you and I need to talk, because my contention is your sphere of influence isn't large enough for you to make a living off of. But that might be where you're focused right now, and you want to grow. You want to give yourself a raise this year. Could you add something like a buyer lead generation strategy to that? And if you did add another layer on top of the layers that you already had, would that give you a raise this year? Now, before I finish this morning, I want to offer you a note of encouragement, and it's this. Don't talk yourself out of this, folks. Don't talk yourself out of it. Be a risk taker. Go for the brass ring. Go for greatness. Don't talk yourself out of it. All those little negative voices in your head where you call yourself bad names, don't listen to them. Squash it. Now, notice that I didn't, and I'm not going to mention create your own team. Oh my gosh. And here's why. I'm not going to go off into how silly teams are, but team growth would be a natural evolution of generating more business than you can handle. And I don't even think it's the first answer to it. I have the first answer. We can talk about that at a different time. But forming teams is not a way to grow your business unless you have already grown your business to the point where you can't handle it by yourself anymore. Otherwise, you're just feeding your ego. That's what that's all about. Okay, I hope you'll join me tomorrow. I'm going to get into the third way of growing a business. And I want you to come join me Wednesday morning at 10:30 on site here at my Roswell office, because we're going to get into 1,001 different ways to market yourself in 2020. And this is Mike, and I'm urging you to go out there and make it happen today.